try to stand for a moment and feel your psoas. Let's make a distinction between your psoas, or psoas. Some people say psoas. Some people say hip flexors generally. Okay. Oops, I keep smashing that. Okay. And try. You can stand kind of toward the center alleyway here. You guys are only going to be, let's just work like 15, 20 more minutes, and then we'll have a little party. But I just want to at least kind of get you to look at that core line. And so with your feet about hip socket or pelvis width apart, so not too narrow, not too wide, but Goldilocks width. Okay? Make a little bit of a bend in your knees, and step your, let's say, left foot behind you and balance on the ball of your foot. Now this is how I teach Warrior One, but we're not going to do that. Okay? About 2/3 of one leg length. And then let your foot, your back foot, we're going to agree it's the left foot. Pivot your left foot on a slight diagonal. If you think of midline, that would be about 45 degrees. That left foot would be on a 45 degree. And then bend your right knee. Now, straighten your right knee again. I'm changing my mind. Now, see, can you square your pelvis toward this alleyway? If I call this the alleyway, is that the alleyway? Now, as you bend your right knee, just tell me what wants to happen. If you bend your right knee, what wants to happen? The pelvis wants to pivot to the left, does it not?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that would be the psoas and the adductors putting a pull on that? Right? And then go ahead, and if you don't use your locks, if you don't use your pelvic locks, don't use them at all if you can stand it, then what wants to happen? If you get deep in the lunge, then what wants to happen?
Anterior tilt.
So your pelvis wants to tilt forward, doesn't it? Doesn't your don't your hip crests want to fall forward? Right? And so that, have you ever seen this pose done and people just go like that? Right. And then what do? We're compressing her right at the floating ribs and also in the lumbars. Right? So let's come back and change sides. Just so that it's evenly done. So you can come back parallel feet, then pivot that right heel toward midline, about a 45 degree angle off of midline. And then how about with the left, your left knee straight, I'll say left, but I like to say your. Draw your right hip crest forward. Square your pelvis and make an attempt to level it. Now, hold up in that pelvic lock and your low belly, and just don't even worry about that left knee bending. So can you pull your right hip crest toward the alleyway and sink your tail to the ground? Wow, does the right knee want to bend? Does your right, psoas, right? As the psoas gets pulled on the stretch at the hip crease and you pull your pubic bone and lift it away from the ground, the pull on the psoas at the leg bone wants to make your knee bend, doesn't it? Right. Defy that. Suck your pelvic floor in. That would be Mulabon. Low belly firms as well. And notice if you do that how some of you with tight psoas, your ribs want to instantly flare. I mean, can you notice that? Because if you're going to stretch it at the crease, it's wanting to give off slack at the top. Now, lower your rib cage slightly. Take a breath in. And just sink your tail to the ground some more. Try to make a suspended mountain pose, pelvis and torso. Wow, feel that right inner thigh and hip crease down at your groin. Is that right? Is that correct? Now, inhale, exhale, sink your tail to the ground some more, and then maybe bend your left knee a little. Don't go deep. Don't make yourself think about deep. What about your rib cage? Does the rib cage go back into a flare? Now, I'm not talking about the foot back there, because in 200 hour, I don't teach this particular foot placement in Warrior One. Can you notice the arch of your foot, though, falls in the center? Oh, well, isn't that... Remember, this goes in here and down the back of your leg, curves around to there. So maybe this arch falling is a product of this line that pulls around on the back of the ankle. Down here. You can come out now. What you just felt in your body, does it make sense that it's connected to that picture you just looked at? Does it make sense to you? Okay, so that foot position, how it caves in, is a product of the peroneal muscle giving way, because that peroneal and the posterior tib are related to this inner thigh too. Okay? I know, you don't want to know those. You don't want to know those. Nobody